Okay, it's 3 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Regular council meeting, Monday, February 2nd, 2026. This meeting is being streamed live through the St. Clair Township website. By attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded and published to the Township website. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream and public record. Land acknowledgements. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today as part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future of those generations to come. Declaration of pecuniary interest. If anyone has one, they can do it now or at the appropriate time. Forward. Forgot the glasses tonight. Oh, we're going to be in trouble here. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on January 12th, 2026 be received and approved. We have a mover for that. Councillor Langstaff. Second. Councillor Langus. Any questions for that? All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the minutes of the Heritage St. Clair Committee held on November 18th, 2025 be accepted and approved. Mover for this. Councillor Myers. Second. Councillor Foster. Any questions for this one? Go ahead. Oh, caught you on that one. All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that council accept the following items of correspondence. 6.1, request for installation of streetlights on St. Clair Parkway. And 6.2, Marshy Creek guardrail concern. John DeMars guardrail concern. Do we have a mover for this? Councillor Lang, second. Councillor Brown. All those in favor? Carried. All right, would somebody like to make a motion for the request to install streetlights on St. Clair Parkway? Deputy Mayor.
I'll make a motion to refer to staff because we don't have anything in the budget to do that, so
Okay.
they're going to get a price and come back to us.
Seconder. Councillor Langus.
Second, sir.
Councillor Langus. All those in favor? Carried. We need a motion for the request to remove a portion of the John DeMars Creek Bridge guardrail. Councillor?
I'd like to make a motion that we refer this to Andrew Malpass to come up with options and bring back a report to council, potentially with conversing with Ann Markham and the potential that she has 2 properties there, with one now being landlocked due to the extra long guardrail.
Okay, thank you. We have a seconder for that. Councillor Brown. Any more questions? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I have a question for Andrew. Is that a safety concern? Is that why that is? As long as it is?
Through the mayor. The guardrail was designed specifically in that location to protect the streetlight pole. So they recommend, the design engineer recommends, based on the Ontario Bridge Code and OPSD, to extend that 15 meters past that hazard that's located in the clear zone, they call it.
Yeah, I didn't think we were probably spending money just to spend it, but, okay.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
To the mayor, Councillor Langstaff, can we make a friendly amendment to yours? If knowing that from what Andrew has said that it's mandated to do that, do you think that it's wise to do a report, have staff come back when for insurance and the engineers are saying it's necessary?
Through the chair, it was my understanding that we were already looking into possible solutions for Miss Markham's letter. So I was only basically trying to table this until we could get wording back on if there was any options.
You okay with that, Andrew?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Anybody else? All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority meeting highlights from December 11th, 2026 be received as information. I'm a mover for this. Deputy Mayor? Thank you. Seconder? Counselor Langstaff? Any questions on this one? None. All those in favor? Carried. Sorry. Yes, sorry.
I just want to say that I'm really disappointed that this went through because we have a hard time getting anything from this conservation area in a timely manner. And now that we have expanded to 7 areas all joined into one in our area, I'm curious as to how long it's going to take to get a response back from the Conservation Authority when we need some answers in an emergency. For example, we're still waiting for something from them about Guthrie Park and being able to do the washrooms, and that's already been extended and extended. What's going to happen now that they've passed this bill and they've grossly expanded each area and to cover 23,000 kilometers is just insane. So I'm really disappointed, and I just want you to know.
That's a good point, but I think this is going to change 500 times before they're done. I can't see an end in sight for this. It's just, it was put out there and there wasn't a thought about it. And, well, the conservation has never really been my favorite, but I think it's getting worse. So, you heard anything different, Jeff, about this? No. Okay, thank you. Be it resolved that the vendor invoices and RBC Visa charges report as submitted by Treasurer George Lozon be received and the included invoices be approved for the period of November 23rd, 2025 to January 24th, 2026, totaling $14,681,597.81, and RBC Visa charges for the period of November 18th, 2025 to January 15th, 2026, totaling $63,509.05. Do we have a mover for this? Counselor Brown, second. Counselor Myers. Anybody have any questions? Counselor Langstaff.
Through your worship, I have a few, starting with the refresher, George, on the interest payments, the St. Clair River Trail, $882.50 and $13,000 and change.
Through the mayor, we take care of their bank accounts. So the way our bank works, we only get interest on one account, everything rolls up to it. So when, at the end of the year, we credit their interest out of ours to their account for the amount that they have in their account for the year.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. My next is for Public Works. Government drain number 3, it looks like it was sprayed in September. A grand total of $3,000 within the same year of it getting cleaned out. We got to get a handle on this stuff. I don't know. I can't fathom it needed spraying within 7 months of it getting cleaned out if the contractor can't get a better handle on this, then we should really consider tendering it in the future.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor of this reading? Carried. Well, it's 3:10, so let's go to the presentation impact assessment. Tracy Pringle, are you ready? Hi, Tracy, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much. And good afternoon, Mayor Agar, members of council and administration. My name is Tracy Pringle, and I'm an account manager with MPAC's Municipal and Stakeholder Relations. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this afternoon via Zoom. I will provide some insight into the Ontario property tax system, how MPAC assesses properties, and how property owners can get more information about their assessment and what to do if they disagree. I'm happy to take any questions you may have at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. Hopefully you can see the slides. I can't see them on the screen, so just making sure. There are 4 key players in Ontario's property tax property assessment and taxation system, and all have a different role or interest in this process. The provincial government, specifically the Ministry of Finance, is responsible for setting assessment and taxation legislation as well as policies. They also determine the education property tax rate. Additionally, there's an independent body that adjudicates appeals of MPAC's assessed values called the Assessment Review Board, or ARB, which falls under the jurisdiction of the province. MPAC is an independent, not-for-profit corporation funded by all Ontario municipalities. In Lambton County, the cost of MPAC services is paid by Lambton County. Our role is to accurately assess and classify all properties in Ontario. We do this in compliance with the Assessment Act and regulations set by the Government of Ontario. We are accountable to the province, municipalities, and property taxpayers of Ontario through a board of directors that is comprised of provincial, municipal, and taxpayer representatives appointed by the Minister of Finance. Municipalities determine their budget requirements, set tax rate, and collect property taxes to pay for municipal services such as police, fire, roads, recreation, water, among many others. Municipalities use MPAC assessments and the established tax rates to distribute their tax requirement to taxpayers. And finally, the property owners pay the property tax bill and help to set market value through ongoing property purchases and sales. Next slide, please. As most of you are likely aware, the province postponed the assessment update in 2020 following the declaration of the COVID pandemic. The valuation date for the most recent assessment update, which took effect in 2017, was January the 1st, 2016. This is when we determined what every single property in Ontario could have reasonably sold for in its current state and condition at the particular point in time. This means that properties are still being valued by the 2016 CVA date. All properties are valued as if they existed on January the 1st, 2016. For new home builds, we perform a regression analysis to determine what the value of the property would have been on January the 1st, 2016. Since that time, in addition to maintaining our database, assessing new structures, and delivering growth, MPAC has made significant investments in upgrading our entire system to what we call Insight 25, which modernizes and upgrades our entire IT infrastructure and the platforms in which we work. We remain in a ready state to deliver an assessment update once announced by the province. Next slide, please. And we'll talk a little bit about how MPAC assesses properties. So if we can move to the next slide. MPAC employs one of 3 approaches to value properties. The direct comparison approach, which is the most commonly used valuation approach and is typically used for residential properties, including condominiums. And we'll take a deeper look at the direct comparison approach in the next couple of slides. We also have the income approach. So this is to determine an income producing property's market value, as it is directly tied to its ability to generate revenue. MPAC undertakes a detailed analysis of the property's income and expenses, and then compares it to similar properties to determine how much income a property could be expected to generate. It is typically used for hospitality properties like hotels or golf courses, office buildings, and shopping centers, for example. Another example I can give to help you visualize is to think of a Walmart store. The income approach is not based on the amount of income that Walmart makes, but by the amount of income the landlord makes by renting that property to Walmart. Hopefully that distinction helps. Then the third we have is the cost approach. When a property type is unique and rarely sells on the open market, we can't rely on direct comparison or income to determine the current value. In these cases, we derive the property value with a three-step process. First, we calculate the current cost of replacing the buildings, structures, and other taxable components on the land. Next, we apply a deduction for depreciation due to age, functional or economic conditions that could impact the value of the property. And third, we determine the value of the land and add it to the calculation to produce an overall valuation. This method is typically used for industrial properties, large and special purpose properties, such as chemical processing companies that are so prevalent in this part of the province. Next slide, please. As I stated on the last slide, direct comparison is the most commonly used valuation approach. This makes sense as most of Ontario's assessed property is in the residential property class. We analyze recent sales of comparable properties to determine the value of your property. In considering any sales evidence, we ensure that the property has sold for a similar or identical use as the property being valued. Next slide, please. Based on the sales information, there are 5 major factors that generally account for 85% of your property's assessed value: the age of the buildings on the property, the location of your property, the quality of construction, exterior square footage, and the size of your lot. While there are a number of factors that account for the assessment of the property, location is the most important. And when I say location, think Toronto versus St. Clair Township. As a result, comparing your assessment to similar properties in your area or neighborhood can help you to review your assessment. Next slide, please. After we assess a property or change in assessment, we mail the property owner a property assessment notice. Sometimes property owners disagree with our assessed value. A property owner may connect with you to let you know that they disagree with our assessment, but it's important to remember that property assessments are not taxation. The questions that may be asked of the property owner: could they have sold their property on January the 1st, 2016 for the assessed value on their notice? Have they visited About My Property to review the impact information has on file regarding their property to ensure it's correct? Have they used About My Property to conduct comparable research on assessment values in their area? If a property owner still disagrees with their assessment, they do have the option to file a request for reconsideration, and MPAC will review their property free of charge. There is also the ability to file an appeal with the Assessment Review Board, or ARB. Please note that the ARB charges a filing fee of $132.50 per roll for residential or farm properties and $318 per roll number for all other property types. The fastest way to start a review is by filing the request for reconsideration on About My Property. Property owners can also file this through the mpac.ca website. The deadline to file an RFR is printed on the property assessment notice. Where you have not received a notice for updated details on your property, the deadline for filing an RFR for the 2026 taxation year is March 31st of 2026. Property owners can also update their mailing addresses and confirm or update their school support by using the About My Property portal. Next slide as well, please. I was also asked to review a bit about how battery energy storage facilities will be assessed. So MPAC will consider the land used to house the battery storage facility industrial and will value the land using appropriate industrial land rates for the area where the facility is located. The default methodology for storage facilities is the cost approach, which I just described. All the buildings and structures on the site will be valued using replacement cost less depreciation, unless Section 1901 of the Assessment Act applies, which specifically targets electricity generation and transformer stations. For properties where that Section 1901 applies, the legislated rate of $86.11 per square meter will be applied to the structures housing the battery equipment if applicable. However, the batteries and foundations on which they rest will be deemed exempt under Section 3118 of the Assessment Act. This section of the Act exempts machinery for producing power from property taxes. The classification of the land and structures will be industrial. If there are structures on the property which are not batteries or battery housings, they would be assessed using cost and classified as industrial if they are part of the generation, transmission, or electricity storage process. If the structures have an alternative use, for example, administration, office, or storage, they will be classified according to OREG 28298, which directs MPAC in classifying property to the use. We should also clarify that if batteries are self-contained, so there is no ability to enter the structure, then they would all be exempt from taxation. If the batteries are housed within another structure, the housing would be accessible, but the batteries themselves will still be exempt. Next slide, please. So we'll talk a little bit about the relationship between property value and property tax. Taxes for an individual are fairly straightforward. It is assessment times tax rate equals the taxes that they pay. In St. Clair, the municipal portion includes taxes for both St. Clair and Lambton County. The education tax rate is also combined to provide a full tax rate to the property owner. Next slide, please. So we'll talk a little bit about the relationship between property value and taxes during reassessment. When MPAC is able to deliver a reassessment, all properties will receive an updated current value assessment, and the municipality will have the option and opportunity to reset ratios between tax classes. Assessments distribute taxes, they do not determine the amount of tax paid. When a province-wide assessment update occurs, the most important factor is not how much the assessed value of a property has changed, but rather how the assessed value has changed relative to the average change in that class in that community. So if my property increased in value by more than the average change to my property class, I would likely pay more this year than I did the previous year in terms of my tax bill. If my property increases in value in line with the average change in my property class, I'll likely pay about the same as I paid in the previous year. If my property increases in value by less than the average change in my property class, I would likely pay less than I did the previous year. If the assessment value increases, generally tax rates decrease because it is predicated on the municipal budget requirement. Next slide, please. Our focus is always on building awareness about property assessment and taxation and MPAC's role in the process. We understand that property assessment can be complex. We hear it from municipalities and from property owners. It's why we've been communicating with property owners and Ontarians more than ever to help them understand the property assessment and taxation system, learn a bit more about who we are, and easily find information and resources that they need. From social media campaigns and educational videos to our homeowners hub, where property owners can access information to help them navigate the property and assessment and taxation system, we continue to focus our efforts on providing helpful and easy to understand resources directly to property owners and to municipalities to help you find property owner related questions. Next slide, please. Additionally, we liaise with municipalities on a regular basis, including council presentations like the one I'm giving you this afternoon, and one-on-one meetings with elected officials, as well as orientation sessions if requested after the upcoming municipal election. We have attendance and conference sessions at municipal conferences, webinars, training videos, and ongoing support for MPAC products and services. Meeting with our municipal partners is crucial to building strong relationships and understanding the communities that we serve. MPAC staff work closely with municipal administration and municipal councils to educate and share valuable information. We manage over 18,000 municipal inquiries annually, which are the day-to-day business requests and activities that we undertake to support our municipal partners. The top 3 categories include property specific, including ownership correction, zoning information, planning and bylaw updates, and property assessment or rural value, municipal and mailing address updates, and questions about plans and severances. An inquiry is not a negative. It's just a business activity or a touch point to deliver core services to your municipality. We monitor this activity as part of our municipal service level agreement. Our digital toolkits, also available on mpac.ca, can help municipalities, including elected officials, mitigate misinformation and provide support and resources to educate and inform property owners. Next slide. So that's the sort of formal portion of my presentation. I would be very happy to take any questions if you have any.
Well, thank you for your presentation. Does anybody have any questions? Councillor Langstaff.
Through the mayor. Thank you for coming, Tracy. Really appreciate this presentation, and I think I speak for all of us when I tell you that we look forward to the province unfreezing property values so we can get our mill rate in line and carry on. My question is regarding pipelines above and below ground. Are they taxable, and are they taxed the same?
So pipelines are taxable, and we do work with regulated rates on those pipelines. They are updated on an annual basis. So it depends on the type of pipeline, what it's carrying, and the dimension of the pipe. Does that answer your question, Counselor?
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Councilor Brown?
Thank you, Mayor Agar, and thank you for your presentation, Tracy. My question, like with the valuations based on the 2016 market value, so when a new build occurs, say 2024, how do you determine that cost of whatever that building was in 2024?
We have tools in our software to do regression analysis to backdate what the value of that property would be based on like properties of where it is now and the comparables, what it would have been as of January the 1st, 2016, to ensure that there's equity across the taxpayer base. So everybody's paying from that same date. So had the house existed on January the 1st, 2016, the estimated value would be that CVA that they are paying the taxes on.
Okay, and one further question is, it's my understanding, or maybe I'm wrong, that the voting list is established through impact, or any changes?
It used to be, yeah, Councillor Brown, it did used to be through MPAC. In 2024, we transitioned responsibility for the voters list to Elections Ontario. Elections Ontario does have a public site where you can make sure that you're registered to vote in the upcoming municipal election. MPAC's role for the upcoming election is the school support. We provide the school support by property to Elections Ontario so that the correct trustees are on the ballot for your constituents.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, kind of further to that question. Do we have any idea when we can expect an update from the 2016 base that we're using now? Because it's very confusing for people. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, I completely agree with you that it is confusing and challenging, and like you, we are anxious for the announcement from the province for that date.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Through the mayor. Thanks again, Tracy, for taking my question. Is gas storage taxed, underground gas storage taxed? And if so, how is that tax increased as local companies increase PSI to increase storage?
Councillor Langstaff, that's not a question I can answer in council, only because I technically do not have the ability to answer it. So what I can commit to is getting an answer for you and providing it back through the clerk for your information, if that'll work for you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I kind of have one. I was listening to your appeal process there. There's a cost to doing it now? There never used to be, did there? Is that something new?
There's no cost for you to ask MPAC to do a request for reconsideration, but should you wish to progress to the assessment review board, there is a cost to file with the assessment review board, and that's a provincial responsibility. I think it's doubled. It used to be $75 several years ago, but it's now up, over double that.
Hey, thanks. Go figure. Anybody else? Well, thank you very much. It was very informative.
My pleasure. And if you have any questions anytime, please feel free to reach out. You all have my contact details. If there's anything I can answer for you, please don't hesitate. I'm happy to have a coffee, a phone call, whatever it takes to help your understanding.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
All right, now we move on. OPP presentation and report. Chair Greg Nemchuk, Vice Chair John McCharles, and Ross Stewart. Yeah. It's a little plastic thing at the bottom there, just till the red light, there you go.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, and thank you so much for allowing us to come today. I'm Greg Nemchek, Chair of the Lambton Group Police Board, and I'm just going to go through a couple slides and then turn it over to Inspector Stewart. So this picture here is obviously the detachment in Petrolia. If we go to the next slide, you have a copy of all this so you can look through it extensively, but if we go to the next slide, please. This is our structure of our Lambton board. So we have 10 voting members. The Lambton Group OPP Detachment Board represents 9 municipalities contracted with the province for municipal policing services by Ontario Provincial Police. OPP detachment boards are independent from municipal councils, and members of the municipality may choose under Section 33 to appoint an elected official to the detachment board with the understanding that the elected official is not sitting as an elected official, but rather as an appointed member representing one or more municipalities from the community. If you look to the right side, you will see the members of our board. I am the chair. Vice chair is John McCharles, who is sitting to the right of me, also provincial rep. I am a member at large, and then we have our list as we go down, and then you have Mr. Agar Mayor representing St. Clair. 2 provincial appointee members through application to the province appointees. Again, that is John and Shirley. And the board through application appoints 2 community members, and that's myself and Bill Beveridge. There's 4 non-voting members, Inspector Stewart, who is with us here on the right, Staff Sergeant Erica Van Roboys, and Jordan Yancey is a sergeant also. And then we have Mandy Pearson as our board secretary, who keeps us all in line, and she does a fabulous job. So that's our structure. If we go to the next slide, this will be your member municipality expense shares. So you can look down at the different municipalities and the percentage of shares of expenses. St. Clair Township is at 25.09. The next slide is just a slide that if you need to contact us, please do at any time. And at this point, I would invite Inspector Stewart up to continue the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair Nemchek. Thanks to St. Clair Council for the opportunity to come before you today and provide you a little bit of information as it relates to policing over the course of 2025. One of the main reasons why I wanted to come before this council as well as the other municipal councils throughout the county is since the Community Safety and Policing Act came into effect in 2024, we no longer provide specific information as it relates to statistical data, that sort of thing, for individual municipal councils. Rather, it's more of a county-based report. So I think there's a lot of value that despite doing those presentations bi-monthly to our board, that I at least once a year come before each council to give you specific information as to what's happened in your community and what we're doing to keep it safe. I'm certainly very alive to the fact that policing is expensive. I'm well aware of that, and I think that it's important for you to know who your detachment commander is, what my priorities are, what the challenges are that we're facing, but frankly also to hear from you as to any concerns you have or what your priorities may be as well, what we could do better, if you will. If we don't have these conversations, it's very difficult for me to become aware of those things. So. Just very quickly, a little bit of my background. I'm in my 27th year with the OPP. Spent my time between being a patrol officer, forensics for a number of years, doing major cases, a frontline supervisor here in Lambton County for a number of years, followed by being an operations manager here in Lambton. And then about 4 years ago, I got promoted and I moved on as the detachment commander in Middlesex, which is very similar to the Lambton detachment. 4 reporting locations, multiple municipal councils, those sorts of things. A very busy general duties, very busy traffic-related detachment. And in July, this past July, I had the opportunity to come home, if you will, and come back at least on a temporary basis while Inspector Avery is out of the workplace. And it is sincerely my pleasure to be back in this community serving. So I look forward to the next 3 years of my career, whatever that looks like, whether that's here or back in Middlesex or moving on. But nevertheless, be assured that for however long I'm here, I am fully committed. I'm going to talk, I know I've provided council with a report that's very fulsome, but I'm only going to hit on a few different points within that report. Again, it is specific to St. Clair. I'm happy to answer any questions about that entire thing, but I think it's really important for you to hear some of the other things that are going on with the OPP in general for Lambton County. So I'm going to talk about some specifics here, and then I'm going to move on to some broader categories. So as it relates to the report that's in front of council, one of the main focuses that I like to talk about is motor vehicle collisions. You will see that the report provides 3 years worth of data. Although some good news as it relates to motor vehicle collisions in St. Clair specifically, being that 21.6% decrease in calls, very concerning that we've seen an increase in fatalities. To be completely honest, the property damage related collisions, those are the ones that individuals are not injured in. Those fall to a less of higher priority. It's not as high of a priority as when I see people being injured or people being killed in collisions. I want to ask the questions as to why are those things happening. You will see in 2025, unfortunately, we did have 4 fatalities within St. Clair itself. Perhaps most concerning relating to that is that in 2 of those collisions involved alcohol, and in a third, a lack of seatbelts. One of the things that certainly Mayor Agar will be very familiar with is me talking about the Big Four. Now, the Big Four is not a Lambton thing. It is across the province, and it's really the focal point for our traffic enforcement strategy throughout the OPP. The Big Four relates to those 4 factors that we know are the leading causes for serious injury and fatal motor vehicle collisions. That being impaired driving, lack of seatbelts, distracted driving, and speeding. So when I look at our fatalities and I start to dissect those and I see that alcohol and a seatbelt is involved, those are preventable collisions if those things aren't happening. And that speaks directly to why enforcement is so important. There's 3 components to our traffic management strategy, both in St. Clair but also throughout the county. 1 is enforcement, 2 is education, and 3 is the engineering component. And from an engineering component, I'm talking about if we see a lot of collisions at controlled intersections, are those signs or are those lights visible? Or have some bushes or a tree grown over and the stop sign's blocked. That's the environmental aspect that comes into potential causes for collisions. But as it relates to fatalities, very concerning to see the alcohol and the lack of seatbelt use. Excuse me. Moving on to our crime-related statistics and our traffic statistics. You will see that over the course of 2025, there was a decrease in 25.4% in the number of charges that were laid. That may be a lack of calls coming in, may also be a decrease in proactivity. One of the things that I will be talking about in a few minutes with regard to what my priorities are for the detachment is an increase in proactive enforcement on the part of our officers. I'm very pleased to see criminal code charges dropping. However, very concerned when I see things like Highway Traffic Act related charges dropping, because I do know that the enforcement component is so important in keeping people safe on the roadway. As I move on to the next slide, and this is in relation to our violent crime, you'll see a marginal increase, 4.6% year over year. I really would highlight in here the large increase that we see in relation to threats-related calls. These don't necessarily mean that violence has been applied from one person to another, but certainly what we have seen over the course of the last year in St. Clair is an increase in the number of threats that are being received by folks. Property-related crime. This is, in my experience of reporting to boards over the years, whether here or in Middlesex, I can tell you that property-related crime is one of those priorities, and I'm sure it is for this council. I'm very pleased to see the decrease that we've had, not only within St. Clair in 2025, but frankly across the county as well. An overall decrease here in St. Clair of 28.5% in our property-related crime. And that includes break-and-enters, which is a very important component. What I will say, though, and I say this to our board every time we meet, please be very cautious when you look at the numbers of frauds that are captured within the property-related part of this report. Frauds historically are underreported. We know that. When someone is the victim of a fraud, there's a high level of embarrassment that comes with that. And I certainly understand that. And so we're alive to the fact that, unfortunately, some people are victimized by fraudsters and then are too embarrassed to come forward. We also know that we do a lot of public education on frauds, and one of the things that we ask members of the public is that if you receive that CRA phone call, even if you're not victimized, make sure you notify the OPP so that we know what sort of trends are taking place currently so that we can address those with public messaging and those types of things. So the frauds that are reported may not be victimization. So just be very cautious when you're looking at those fraud numbers. It appears to be good news in the sense that that they are down a little bit from last year, but please take a grain of salt with those numbers themselves. The next slide I'll speak to just very quickly is in relation to drug crime, again, specific to St. Clair. A 43% decrease in the number of drug-related calls for service over the course of the calendar year, a total of 8, one of which was a trafficking investigation. I will speak with regard to our community street crime in a minute and their efforts to address both property and drug-related crime. And then the last specific slide that I want to touch on is our mental health calls. We continue to see an increase in mental health calls, not only throughout St. Clair, throughout the county and across the province. This is something that has been on the increase for the last number of years, as long as I can remember. And most certainly it is an operational priority for us. Our MCERT team, or our mobile crisis response team, is a critical component to us dealing appropriately with mental health related calls. For those who may not be aware, our MCERT team is a partnership that we have with Canadian Mental Health to have mental health crisis workers riding in the cruisers with our officers and attending mental health related calls to provide support to folks in need. I'm very pleased to announce to Council that we have just been approved for another 2 years of grant funding to keep this program going. So everyone is aware, we have a clinician in the car and within the county from 12 until midnight, Monday through Saturday. So hopefully the day will come where we have enough funding and enough clinicians to have it 24/7. But in the meantime, we do have coverage over what are peak calls for service for mental health related calls. And I can tell you that in 2025 across the county, we responded to just under 700 mental health calls, so approximately 2 a day. And of those, 169 apprehensions under the Mental Health Act, which sounds like a lot. That's about a third of what we were looking at 3 and 4 years ago. And that really points to the benefit of having the clinician in the car, because now what we have is a subject matter expert who's making the decisions around an apprehension for a person that's in need, as opposed to a police officer doing their due diligence and doing their best, but not really having that formal training on assessing someone's mental health. So it is good to see that Even though we have an increase in the number of mental health-related calls that we're attending to, we continue to see the number of apprehensions dropping, and yet the number of community supports being provided to folks as increasing. So really positive news. I would like to speak just very briefly on a few other items. I'll give you some very high-level statistics from a traffic standpoint for the entire county. This is important because what happens elsewhere in the county directly affects your community. You can appreciate that if we are running a ride in Petrolia for someone that's passing through to go down to Wallaceburg, and we pull an impaired off of that ride check, that person does not have the opportunity to drive down St. Clair Parkway, and it keeps the community safer. Same with traffic stops and enforcement. Over the course of 2025, our members in Lambton County conducted 10,055 traffic stops, laid just over 7,200 charges, 3,800 of which were the big four that I was speaking to. We conducted over 1,300 rides across the county, 125 of which were in St. Clair. I would like to see that number increase. I want to see a minimum of one per county or per municipality per day. And impaired drivers, 258 in Lambton, with a total of 19 arrests for impaired driving specific to St. Clair. I'd like to speak about overtime. Overtime is relevant because, as you know, it directly affects the cost of policing in your community and your bill from the OPP. This is something that is one of our largest priorities. I'll be very clear on this point. I will never sacrifice officer or community safety to save a dollar. If we need to staff something appropriately, I'm going to staff it, even if that means overtime. However, what I can reassure council and anybody listening on the call about is that we are very mindful of the cost of policing and the fact that overtime is part of that equation. So where we can decrease overtime, we are making every effort to do so. I'm quite pleased that across the county in 2025, we saw a 10.9% decrease and a 9.7% decrease on the 3-year average. And that's consistent with St. Clair Township as well. So that's good news. Keeping in mind that is not at the cost of public or officer safety. Some of the things that we're looking at, though, is end of shift overtime. When I look at overtime in Lambton County, I see that it is generally for 1 to 2 hours in length, and it generally occurs from 1800 hours or 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. at night. That is end of day shift overtime. Now, there may be a very good reason as to why we're accruing overtime at that time of day, and that is the cost of doing a business in a very real sense. But what I will say is when there's opportunities for us to eliminate non-urgent overtime in those situations, someone catching up on administrative duties, there's an opportunity for them to save that to the next shift and send that person home, and we are actively doing that. We're also being very strategic when it comes to our scheduling. Currently, we have a day shift and a night shift. One of the things that I've implemented since I arrived in July is what we call a floater car. And that car starts at 3 p.m. and it goes until 3 in the morning. And the priority for that car is to be answering calls anywhere in the county that come in that shift change. So there's coverage on the road at shift change, but also it provides the opportunity for members, when possible, to not accrue overtime at end of day shift. Very quickly, I want to touch on a couple of other items, specifically my priorities. I've already talked about MCERT. That is the number one priority for me. It's a critically important program. I also want to talk about our OMAP program. This is the Offender Management and Apprehension Program. This is a program that developed out of the tragic death of Constable Greg Pashala a couple of years ago in December in Haldimand County. And it focuses upon high-risk offenders who are out on judicial release within the community, specifically those with firearms conditions, and the onus being on the police to ensure that those individuals are abiding by their release conditions, and if they are not, that they're brought back before the courts. This is not by any means harassment or micromanagement. It's paying close attention to those who have proven in the past their inability to abide by their conditions when they're on release. And as such, they get a little bit of extra attention from our officers. If they're on a curfew at 10 p.m., it is not uncommon for us to knock on the door at 11 p.m. to ensure that they are home and that they are abiding by their curfew. And if they are not, an arrest warrant is put out for their arrest and they're brought back before the courts. I can tell you that in 2025, we conducted 197 of those compliance checks across the county. And we currently have 231 outstanding warrants within the county as of today. I've talked about traffic enforcement. I've talked about motor vehicle collisions. Property crime reduction is another one of those priorities that is very important. I have seen over the course of the last 7 months when I've been here that our property crime numbers continue to drop. That is a good news story, specifically as it relates to break-in enters and theft over 5,000, which generally speaking relates to motor vehicle thefts. We have seen those numbers continue to drop. Our street crime unit is very actively involved in addressing our prolific offenders throughout the county who are responsible for a high volume of these types of property crimes. And again, in keeping with the OMAP program, those individuals get lots of our attention to ensure that they're abiding by conditions when they are on judicial release. And then fraud awareness is another big priority for Lambton OPP. On a regular basis, we are conducting fraud awareness presentations to the most vulnerable within the community as a means of trying to mitigate those that are being victimized, but also to increase public awareness when they receive those phone calls, especially with the advent of AI and individuals' voices certainly sounding like it's Inspector Stewart talking when really it isn't. We need to make sure that people are aware to that. So those public information sessions are very, very important. And then the last thing I'll comment on, and I'm mindful of the time, is professionalism. Another very large priority for me. I believe that we have to look professional, we have to talk professional, and we have to act professional. I'm a very big believer that every interaction with our officers, with members yourselves or with members of the community is critically important. We only get one opportunity to leave a good first impression, and that impression has to be professional. Are our members going to get complaints at times? Yes, they are. Do we look at those very seriously? Yes, we do. I can say that the standard here in Lambton, as it has been in every other place that I've worked for the OPP, very, very high when it comes to the professionalism. And certainly that is something that we're, as a leadership team, we're very alive to at Lambton. So I think that's a basic expectation for this council and for every member of the community to have for your police. And it's certainly one that we prioritize. So those are the speaking points that I wanted to speak to today. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you for your presentation. My question is, in St. Clair Township, how many cars are out each shift, and where are you located in the township?
So thank you for your question. I'm very respectfully not going to answer that.
Okay.
It becomes an operational security
Oh,
question. So for example, if I say we have 2 cars working and somebody calls in a high priority call down St. Clair Parkway, I'd now be telling everybody we've left Corona uncovered. So what I will say is this. Our staffing is at a very good level. As a detachment commander, I'm very comfortable with the number of officers we have on the road every day. They are very strategically placed around where our highest call volumes are to ensure that we have appropriate staffing at all times for those areas. However, there is the expectation around patrol as well, which fills in the time in between calls. And that includes anywhere and everywhere within each respective township to ensure that we have a high level of visibility throughout those areas, so.
Thank you.
I guess you probably answered half of that question that I have is I was going to ask, in the past few years, there's been a number of retirements and I'm searching for new recruits, and I was going to ask how your staffing levels were.
Yeah, our staffing levels are always fluctuating, probably like everybody's. And that's usually good news. And I may have been detachment commander for 4 years now. I look at what's the reason for people leaving? What's the reason for people coming? If people are getting promoted, if they're meeting their career goals, that's a good news story for people moving on. What I can tell you is that our recruitment efforts across the organization are excellent. The OPP a number of years ago actually recruited the head marketer from Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment to come in to revamp our entire recruitment process. And I'm very excited to say that even though OPC has gone to 4 intakes a year from 3, and they've increased it from 350 to 450 recruits, we fill every single one of those seats, every class at OPC. And then those members are strategically placed as to where they're needed the most. So that's more of a broad answer. What I will say again is I'm very comfortable with where our staffing levels are. Is there always room for improvement? Sure, because there's other things that having more officers would allow me to do. But we're very well positioned locally.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, thank you for your presentation, Inspector Stewart. I have maybe a couple questions. In your report, I know when I was on the board, it used to be a concern, and I know they've implemented changes to handling false alarms. Are they under control in St. Clair, or I believe there's a fee if people have numerous false alarms and they're unfounded?
I know that false alarms are a concern within every municipality in Lambton. Where yours are sitting right now specific to St. Clair, I could report back on that. I don't know. What I do know, though, is that at our last board meeting, there was a request for each municipality to be provided with a report specific to their area so that you could take any action that you wanted to take as a council. And I know that that is being implemented as of our February 18th meeting, so.
Okay, and I guess the other thing I'm going to ask is, a while back, there was some issues regarding the satellite office for the OPP in Corunna, and I'm just hoping everything is up to standard for your officers that work out of that office.
Great question, Councillor. Thank you. We're thrilled to be working out of that office. Thank you. It is an important place for us to be. It's an important place for us to have a very high-profile, high-visibility office. It is absolutely meeting our needs, and we're very grateful for it. When I look at Lambton County and I look at it through the lens of almost 13 years being a police officer here, I understand that there's 2 very, very critical locations for us to be out of all of our locations. One is in Corunna, one is in Petrolia. I'm not suggesting Point Edward and Grand Bend aren't important, but those are the 2 really important places. We're very grateful to be there.
Okay, and it's interesting, one of the stats you've provided here is the mental health occurrences, which I see over each year they're increasing. So I know you do have a qualified person that rides along with officers to deal with those situations. So it's something that would be a concern of mine. Thank you.
Yeah, and the side benefit too is we're able to utilize those individuals when it's not necessarily a mental health call, but it could be a very traumatic incident for somebody. We then have that person to be able to provide that support right in that moment, which is a wonderful and unexpected side benefit of the program.
Anybody else? Thank you, Inspector. Your reports are A1. I'm getting kind of used to listening to them now, and you're doing a great job. I'm not sucking up. I do have a question, though. I think it was the last meeting or the meeting before, you were talking about, I think it was fatalities at, corners and that, and Petrolia Line and Kimball was number 2 in the county. Is that, did I remember that right?
That's correct. Number 1 is,
402.
is the 402 in Point Edward, and number 2 is Kimball and Petrolia Line.
The reason I'm asking is our budgets are coming this week, actually, in the county. And I did get a motion through a couple of years ago for a roundabout, which I know it's not going to happen this time. But in your professional opinion, if I go after just to help us out, the stop signs that light up,
Yes.
do you think there's an advantage to them?
I do. I think that anything that increases visibility around the stop sign is a positive thing. I would absolutely encourage that. Even a flashing red light over the intersection, I know at that intersection it's there. Those are helpful too, but yes, lighting up, whether it's putting artificial lighting in place or a sign that actually lights up itself, definitely beneficial.
Thank you.
I do have one more comment, and I'll leave it with you. You saying that the 402 in Point Edward is your number 1. And one of the observations I've saw traveling that stretch of road is it is well signed, but the sign says, it reminds drivers of slow traffic ahead. And one of the things that I ponder when I look at that is what is slow traffic on a 400 series highway? So I think signage that says or stop traffic ahead, be prepared to stop might be more appropriate. And I have mentioned that in some of the circles that I run in, but I'll leave that one with you. That stop traffic ahead, be prepared to stop. Because slow traffic might be running from 100 kilometers an hour down to 80, when it might be considered slow traffic on a 400 series highway. Where stop traffic is stopped, and they need to be prepared to stop at any time in that stretch of road. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a fair comment.
Thank you. Seeing no more questions, thank you guys for coming. Very good.
Thank you.
Safe travels. No, you can go. You can stay if you want. I see you didn't bring coffee or anything though, so you might as well go, John. We have this one next. Oh, yeah, you want to do that? Yeah. I can read it without the glasses. Yeah, the top drawer. Yeah, if you don't mind. Sorry, a little break in the action here for a second. So we'll get to fight it out on Wednesday. We'll get to fight it out on Wednesday. Be it resolved that the minutes of the 2026 budget meeting held on January 15th, 2026 be received and approved. Before we consider these minutes, you will note item 9.1 on today's agenda, which is notice of motion, or in this case, because I cannot move resolution, this is a suggested motion I hope you will consider moving. Be it resolved that motion 3 from the budget deliberations meeting held on January 15th, 2026 be amended by citing the year-end reserve as a funding source for the rural surface treatment project in the amount of $575,000. Now, I want to be clear that this motion does not revisit council's decision to include this project in the budget, which I fully respect. My intent is simply to adjust the funding source so the project can move forward without placing additional pressure on the taxpayers. By using a more appropriate funding mechanism, we can deliver on council's direction while being fiscally responsible and mindful of the cost of living challenges facing our residents. And I would hope, would somebody like to make this motion? Thank you, Counselor. Moved by Counselor Langstaff. Do we have a seconder? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Yeah. So. All right, does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you. Just so we're all refreshed, what is our current percentage increase? And I am in support of this, taking it out of the year-end reserve instead of putting it on the 2026 taxation. But what was our actual, I believe, was it 3.8? Can we ask?
Somewhere there, let's get from George.
Sure, through the mayor. The increase was 3.93% or 116.59. If we make this, if the motion passes, it'll lower it down to 2.41% or 71.66 per average house.
Not counting the county yet.
That's right.
Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you. Counselor?
Through the mayor, and then under report 8.1, because I have a few more motions for the budget, will I be able to speak to them then? Is that my understanding?
Okay, yep.
And one more question.
Yep.
Through the mayor, George, you think this is a good financial decision to take it out a year in surplus?
Through the mayor, that's completely up to council if you want to. That's it. It will lower the tax rates, so it's.
So where has the year-end surplus come from, George?
That's from any money that we have a surplus at the end of the year. So last year, we had a surplus because of the big Shell project of $1 million. So that's probably almost half of what's in there is from the Shell.
So it's not our overall reserves because we have not touched any of that.
That's right.
Thank you. Counselor?
Through the mayor, just to speak more on that, it's not just the Shell project, but it's the efficiencies we created by doing Stedman Street with the water tower project. It's the efficiencies staff found with retendering the John DeMars Bridge, et cetera. So staff has provided to the funds in this account, actually $1 million more or less, more than what we typically run in this fund, I understand.
Yep.
So thank you, staff, for being competitive and helping us grow the fund above and beyond.
Thank you, Counselor. Any more? All right, I'll call a question. Let's record a vote. Haven't had one of them in a long time. Give you something to do, John.
Is everyone familiar with the motion, or would you like me to repeat it? You're all good? Okay. To that motion. Counselor Langus.
Yes.
Counselor Myers. Yay. Counselor Langstaff.
Yay.
Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Counselor Foster.
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Agar.
Yes.
That motion's approved.
Thank you. Off this one. Yeah, just a minute. Okay, I don't think I had a mover for that. Okay, so can somebody move just the minutes off that? Be it resolved that the minutes of the 2026 budget meeting held January 15th, 2026 be received and approved. Do we have a mover for this? Counselor Langus? Second. Counselor Langstaff. All those in favor? Carried. We got that one. Okay, so is there any more motions related to the budget forthcoming? Do you want to receive it first? Okay. Sorry, got a little bit out of whack here. So we'll receive the report first. Be it resolved that the status of the 2026 budget report as submitted by Clerk Jeff Berenick be received as information. Mover? Mr. Longstaff, second. Counselor Foster? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, so now we'll go to, are there any more motions related to the budget? Counselor Foster.
Okay. And for each motion as well, I would like to have a recorded vote on each motion requesting. So from the community services, facilities, 2026-31, for the Brigden roof repair, I would like to remove that. And I'll list the other three in this category and my reasons why in a second. 2026-35, the emergency HVAC. And 2026-36, the gutter guards. And the reason removing these I would like to remove those, and this would be getting funding for the pool room, the cast piping and health club, which those motions will be to follow. These wouldn't be removed, they'd just be deferred into the 2027 budget. That is 140,000, or 140,000 that would come to be able to be put back. 140. As well. And I just want clarity, we get to vote on each one as we're going through?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. As well, I would like to remove 2026-09, and this is from the fire department, and this is for their extraction tools.
Is this all one
This
motion?
is,
Or do you want to
you can-
stop after the first three?
okay. We can stop at, so we'll go with the Brigden roof. A recorded vote to have that removed, the repair to defer it to next year, for 70,000.
Do you want to do all three that you've said?
Sure, I can do
And then
that.
it'll
Yep.
shrink it down a bit.
Sure.
So Jeff, what were they?
At the Brigden roof project, at the HVAC, and the emergency services, and the gutter guards projects.
Okay,
At them as 31, 35, and 36.
all right.
31, 35, 36.
So
To that
don't we
motion.
need a mover first?
Secondary.
So we have a mover, Counselor Foster, seconded by Counselor Langstaff.
Okay, to that motion. Counselor Langus.
Can we have a question?
Sure.
Sure.
Go ahead first.
The only question I have is the roof. I guess a roof leak concerns me, and deferring that for a year, is that going to cause an increased repair again next year?
Kind of like the campground roof that was way down and all of a sudden it came up and needed to be fixed. I see your point.
Who would like to take that question?
Through the mayor, through to Councilor Myers. Yeah, roofs are roofs, right? So if we're not going to completely repair it, then we would do our best to patch that roof to try to limp it through to the next year.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I don't really see any point in deferring anything till next year. We know we have another major project at the pool, and this, I don't see where we're gaining anything here. And we're just making it worse for the next council that's coming in, so I won't support this.
Okay, thank you. Don't see no more, John?
Okay. To that motion, Counselor Langus,
No.
Counselor Myers. Yay. Counselor Langstaff,
Yay.
Counselor Brown,
No.
Counselor Foster,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller,
No.
Mayor Agar.
No.
That motion is defeated.
Okay, next.
Okay. Next motion is from the fire department for 2026-08. The interior lights, to defer that. 2026-07. The floor repair for $35,000, to defer that. And 2026-09, the auto extraction tools, to defer that until, to be considered next year. My reasoning for this is the auto extraction tools, they already have tools. This is just going to bring brand-new tools up. 3 of the departments have brand-new tools. Now the other departments will have brand-new tools, so it's all equal. I just feel that's a cost of, that would be a savings of $148,285 from reserves that could be put again towards the cast iron pipe. By deferring these, that would bring $238,000. So I'd like a recorded vote on that motion.
So that's your motion. Do we have a seconder for that? Counselor Langstaff. So I have one saying here. I don't think it's to be equal. I think it's to be every department for when they go out on a call where there's somebody in a car, which could be my family, your family, me, you guys, anybody, if they don't have that equipment to get them out.
My understanding, they do have the tools.
That's my voice on that. Anybody else? Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, well, again, I'm not going to support this. I don't understand what reserve you're talking about. You think it's coming out. Like the fire department, for years, have built up reserves so they can buy equipment when they need it. And now we're telling them that they can't use their money to buy it?
Through the mayor, Deputy Miller, I find this budget very challenging. Speaking,
So did I.
pardon me, Mayor?
I said, so did I.
Respectfully, I ask when I'm speaking that you allow me to finish speaking.
I always do.
I'm finding this budget under the strong mayor powers very frustrating, very, I don't understand why we are approving some things. We already have equipment for the fire department. It's not a safety issue. They do have the fire equipment there. It's just not brand new. Now we're cutting out, we're not going to be able to provide, when we have a pool that's going to be open, we're going to do that twice. It's going to cost taxpayers more money. The pipes are breaking, but yet we're going to go and buy equal brand-new tools when they already have tools. It's not a safety issue, in my opinion. That's my motion.
Okay, you've made your motion. Do we have a seconder? Was Counselor Langstaff? Any questions? Go ahead, sir.
I do have a question. The funds for these fire extrication tools, are they coming from fire reserves? So that being said, if we did take this out, the money would go back into reserves for fire equipment, not be available for other purchases, correct?
Yes.
That was that.
In respect to the fire reserve question through the chair, what other departments are fortunate to have such a reserve? You know, I understand it's been set aside by said department, but does Public Works have the same royalties of setting?
Yes, everyone, that's where the story came up in the Independent about using however many $1 million worth of reserves. It wasn't out of our reserves, it was out of their department. Your department, your department, your department. That's the whole deal on that one. I did learn about that stuff. All right, anybody else? Go ahead, John.
Okay, to that motion. No, it's. Counselor Langus,
No.
Counselor Myers? No. Counselor Langstaff?
Yay.
Counselor Brown?
No.
Counselor Foster?
Yay.
Deputy Mayor Miller?
No.
Mayor Agar?
No.
That motion is defeated.
And another motion for the 2026-72, the parking lot in Sombra, to be repaved this year for $275,000. I would like to cut that.
Seconder for that one. Seeing none, that motion's lost.
You don't have to count that one, John.
Another one? Okay. Now, we're at the piping stage here. John, I have a question. Do you see a problem with going back to the government, revising the application with the province and do the pipes first? We have money for that. If they want to do the pipes with that money.
Mr. Mayor, yeah, I think based on the fact that the study that we have is fairly recent and provides us with new information, I think we could probably go back to the province and say, based on new information, our priorities have changed, and ask whether we can revise that application.
If there's a problem, I can make a call to Bob Bailey. I can call the Premier, Doug Ford, and we can negotiate with that to see what the deal is. Yes?
Through the mayor, yes, I appreciate if you would do that, and I did have 3 motions to be added. That will follow up with what, those phone calls. So for 2026-24, for the pool room, for the $150,000, 2026-25 for the cast iron pipe for the pool, and 2026-26 for the health club repairs. The reason for these to be added, just for the public that's listening as well, the floor in the health club is cracked and heaving. They can't even get a camera down there because with the pipe breakage or whatever the reason, they believe it's the cast iron piping. It's been masked by a floor mat. There's only 1 to 2 showers working. The other one is closed because of the drain clogged and the floor being ruined. The change needs are in urgent plumbing repairs and new tile work in the shower areas as a result. There's a portion of the shower wall in the ladies' change room that is bulging out, which we saw in our, when we went to view it. The drains are deteriorated and needing replacement. All the cast in the ceiling of the basement is cracked and in really poor condition. It was determined in critical condition. So that is the reason for my motion to add that back in.
This is a motion. Do you have it?
Did you get all the numbers?
I have 24, 25, 26. I only have 26 as health club repairs. What was
The pool room change rooms for the $150,000, cast piping phase 1 basement $200,000, health club change room upgrade $50,000.
Okay, seconder for that? Counselor Langus. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I have a question. Is this assuming we can change the funding? Or is this new money we're spending now?
Through the mayor, this would be new money, but as we're saying, we're taking things out of year-end surplus that are, so if we're gonna just be taking money wherever we can get it, come up with this money from wherever. Make a motion where you want to get it. I just want to see it brought back while we do the repairs, while we're doing the pool, or at least the critical things that are needed in this township.
Well, where's that gonna put our increase up?
How much is
400.
400,000? George, what would that take us to? Sorry to put you on the spot there, George.
No problem. That would bring us back up to 3.47% or $102.92 per average house.
Yeah, I'll only support this if it's an exchange that's acceptable to the director of that department.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'll only support this if it can be an exchange with the work we've already planned to do, and it's acceptable to the coordinator of.
Something else then,
Yeah.
to even it out.
Yeah.
You have something else? Kendall?
Through the mayor, this is a lot to process. We were the ones suggesting that we switch the project. Know what that looks like and where it comes out. I almost think we need to do that before we start taking from other, you know what I mean? There was money, all along there was money there to help offset the cost, because we'd been putting money in for the change rooms and we've been putting money in for the pipes and we've been putting money into the budget. When that all got cut, then it was the time to decide to switch or not. We've already kind of put our foot forward, because the big crunches, it's got to be done by December. So the time is getting really tight now. So we kind of already put a forward, trying to start the tender process of just doing the pool. So we just have to go back to the drawing board and flip it back to assessing what we need done first, up to swap it like for like. It would be swapping it for $750,000 of the township dollars, and then $750,000 of the province money, so it'd be 1.5. So we'd have to go through it and come up with what would be done for that cost, is the way I would look at it.
So just a question here, what got cut? I give you everything that was on your sheet. I did not cut anything. The $1.5 million come up when everything was said and done.
Okay, so to my knowledge, like, I didn't know at the time where council was gonna get the $750,000. I did not know where that decision was gonna, and how that money was gonna come up. So then we had put in, you know, the projects that were there, and they've been below the line over the last few years. So at my time, I didn't know that the 750 was gonna be drawn out of my budget, so I assumed that we were gonna get some projects that came through. So once we realized that the money was gonna come up, it made perfect sense of how it went forward. So then we were just trying to plan what's best for the facility and to push forward, knowing that we have to apply for this or achieve what this grant expects us to achieve.
Go ahead.
So you would rather things remain the way they are?
That's a tough position to be in, because it's a 50-year-old facility. So if we fix the pool and then the pipes, then either way, we're gonna end up with mud on our face, is almost how I feel. If we don't do the pool and we do the change rooms, then do we feel the pool can run? I feel the pool can run a bit longer. But when this money was presented to us, we were like, okay, it's time to do this project and see how much of this project we can get done. And that's kind of how we ended up into this position. It's the pool was the last big piece of the puzzle for the building, other than maybe the change rooms for the rinks, but the pool is the next big piece of the puzzle that's been there for 50 years.
So I hear ya, and the pipes, that seems to be the problem, right? So if we can redo what's coming and get the government to agree, because this is something that basically came out of the blue, right? Everybody knew years ago about cast iron pipes is natural, but I mean, it came out of the blue in the last while that actually needs to be, it's a hot item to fix. So if we can get that straightened out, they can do that, and then next year, we can do the pretty and pink stuff. I kind of put it to, say my car. I'm gonna go around the bend here.
So I need brakes, I need a paint job. So the brakes are the important part of the issue. So I'm gonna do the brakes, I'm gonna leave the paint job till next year. If we can do it that way, I would think that would be a good way to do it. And like I said, I can't see the government complaining about that because this came out of the blue and it's a necessity that we have to do. Yeah.
Mayor, respectfully, what I was trying, when I'm looking at this all, if we, and I said this before 2 weeks ago at the budget meeting, if we're already going ahead, fixing the pool, everything's going to be torn out, why would we do it twice? It's going to cost us double the amount of money. And I respectfully understand you do not want to raise taxes. Whether we do it this year or we do it next year, and the next council, a new election comes in and we say, well, now we need to fix the pool, and it's double the cost. I'm going to try to do my best financially. Right now, we may have to raise taxes to get these things done now. That's why I'm not trying to, Kendall, respectfully, Marcus, respectfully, try not to put you in a bad position. It doesn't make sense to just do the brakes right now when you're going to need, it's a big difference, brakes and a paint job. To myself, this is a pool being taken apart, fixing it, fix the pipes now, do it all right now rather than doing it twice in cost. And so that's why these motions were made.
It's the same principle. I didn't mean a break it's just
I agree.
figure of speech that's the way stuff works. Anyways, go ahead, Councilor Brown.
I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, if Kendall's ready to go to tender on the first phase, which was the pool and that, let's go to tender, let's see what the pricing comes back, and put these other items just on hold and see what our tenders come in at, and then we can figure out if we're gonna fund them out of the Education and Reserve Fund, or, and how much money we would have left over from the grant and the 1.5 million that we're estimating. So I can see that pipes wear out, but it's not like it's a sprinkler system from what I know of. If you get a broken pipe in the street, you fix it, okay? So, like I say, it may make a lot of sense, but at the same time, I think we should approach it with caution.
I think Councilor Brown is on the right track. I think it's not fair to ask Kendall to go out and retender all this stuff at this point. So I would support what Councilor Brown's saying.
Through the mayor, I third what you gentlemen just mentioned. We have the E&E fund at our disposal. I understand we have a mandate, but it's still available dollars to us, and we got to get innovative here. So I look forward to that motion coming forward and supporting it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Through the mayor, just on that point of the E&E, April 22nd, there was a motion I passed, and Councillor Lengus, you seconded it, and it was passed to follow through that we weren't spending the E&E fund. We were only going to, it wasn't going to be spent on capital projects. It outlines exactly what we were going to be spending it on so that we could build it in case Clean Harbors, in the event that their lifespan seizes us, our interest would be able to sustain us with our future projects, with donations, the Beacon Health Building, cemeteries. It's outlined. We passed this. Now we're just disregarding motions that are passed. That's frustrating to me. So either we start saving, stick to a plan, put the money aside, make the hard decisions, because it's very frustrating that we pass these things and then we just say, I agree, the money is there in the E&E fund. Then why did we pass this? Why did that get passed when you just disregard everything? So there's year-end surplus. You want to go and take the money from there. You have over $2 million there. Take it from there. But I have a hard time when I go and have motions passed and now you're just disregarding it. Fun.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilor. We're going to call the question here pretty soon because I think do you have a motion?
I had 3 motions there.
We'll call this one, then you can do another one.
Presented my motion.
Okay.
What's the motion that's been presented that we should be voting on? She was gonna add, Councillor Foster has moved to add 3 projects, the projects being 2026-24, which are pool change room upgrades, 2026-25, which is the phasing 1, or what's described as phase 1 of the piping project, and 2026-26, which is health club repairs. This is a new money, which would raise it, according to our treasurer, to 3.47%.
Okay. Everybody got that motion? Go ahead, John.
Okay, to that motion, Counselor Langus.
Yes.
Counselor Myers.
No.
Counselor Langstaff.
Nay.
Counselor Brown.
No.
Counselor Foster.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
No.
Mayor Agar.
No.
That motion is defeated.
Okay, got your next one? Pardon?
No, I'm complete for the amendment.
You all done? That's it? Okay. Anybody?
Through the mayor, Pat, would you like to repeat your idea about moving forward with how Kendall has it going right now? And prioritizing, also figuring out costs and available funds, including the E&E fund, to also fix the cast iron pipes right now without touching the general levy?
If I can speak to that, Mayor Agar, I'll
Okay,
try
go
to
ahead.
summarize what I was thinking is once we receive tenders back on the pool refurbishment, depending what that cost comes in at, any surplus could be set aside to carry out the other items that were on that budget, didn't make the cut line, the pool change rooms, the cast iron piping, and the health club upgrade. And failing that, we could come back and either find the financial, depending on them tender results, we can get other financing through the education environment, or as Councillor Foster is hinting, that we have more surplus from the previous year, that we could look at possible funding for those, through those streams.
We don't want to take out of our overall surplus. The next council's coming in, and I'm not leaving them drained with nothing.
Yeah, well, like I say, it's not a written in stone motion, it's just to review it after the tenders come back to see where we are financially. So I guess I'd make that motion at that time, just to table these until such time that we know what our financial obligations are.
Can we do that?
So it's not a motion, it's just
So it adds nothing, takes nothing away. Go ahead, Kendall.
Through the mayor, so there's 1.5 million to spend, and we will be spending it. So if we don't spend it, we're gonna lose it. So we are approved for basically what Councilor Brown is saying. In the project is all the piping and everything. We're gonna do as much as we possibly can with the 1.5 million. So, because it's already approved as a project.
So why don't you go ahead and do that? When it's all said and done, come back. We'll see what, I'm sure there's not gonna be another 2 million there, is there, for more work? And we'll see what we do after that. Would that work?
So where we're at is, I guess the easiest way to explain it, and maybe the piece of the puzzle that we've missed from the beginning, is once we've opened it up, where the issue is we've got to make it accessible. We're not accessible right now, and that's where a lot of the huge dollars is coming, is to make the change rooms accessible. So if we don't make the change rooms accessible, we just replace like for like, but then we're not bringing everything up to AODA standards. So we'll just have to look at how surgically we can replace piping and not have to tear it apart, and then maybe the accessibility upgrade waits for later. We'll tear it apart and we'll come back and try to spend the dollars the best we can, knowing that there'll be more work to be done.
Did you say that it's probably gonna be down for a year doing this?
Our original intent was hopefully to have it closed from April till December. And I wasn't hoping December, I was hoping September, so that we could get back to not losing the session of the classes for the kids.
So we're talking 6 to 9 months.
Yes.
Loses $500,000, so there's another $250,000 right there at 6 months. Okay, so we don't have nothing then. Okay. So George, give a tally. What are we at right now?
Yes, Mayor. We're at 2.41% or $71.66 for an average house.
I'm sorry, I was pre-distracted there.
Okay.
Say it again.
2.41%.
Okay.
For $71.66
Okay.
for an average house.
Thank you. All right, so are there any more motions related to the budget? Seeing none, be it resolved that the amendment period for the mayor's budget be hereby closed on the second day of February 2026. Do we have a mover for that? Deputy Mayor. Seconder. Did you have any? Counselor Langstaff. All those in favor? Carried. That one? What was this one? We didn't do this one. All right. That was a good conversation. Let's carry on. Be it resolved that the Fire Life Cycle Reserve and Repayment Report as submitted by Treasurer George Lozon be received as information. Have a mover for this. Counselor Brown. Seconder. Counselor Foster. Any questions on this? Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
To the mayor for George. I've got your, thanks for the report. I'm trying to make sense completely of it, but the question is, would it be more beneficial if we went with the life, or took this out in a debenture, took it out in a loan? Would we be able to?
Through the mayor, it would cost us about $18,000 more a year because right now we're making 2.75% and we're charging this reserve 3.11%. So if we went out and got a loan for 3.11%, since they're paying into the other reserves this interest rate, we would lose that. So it's, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Through the mayor, I'm looking for either information or a report back on the amount of funds in our industrial funded fire apparatus reserve account.
Is there an actual account for that? George, is there an account for that?
Yes, we are. Do you mean the one we're using the special area rate for, Counselor? Yes, I can do a report back on that. That's self-funded for those two pieces of equipment. So council passed a bylaw about a year ago on that to renew the special area rate for 10 years. So I can do a 10-year estimate of how much we're going to spend and how much the trucks are going to cost.
Go ahead.
My follow-up through the chair would be, is it just the two ladder trucks or is it also the F-350 and the air trailer and the command unit?
Just the two ladder trucks.
Okay. Yes, that's been in place for a long time. It was a good idea at the time. I will give somebody a lot of credit for it. Maybe he's sitting out there right now. He's not listening. I think he fell asleep. All right, so seeing no more, all those in favor of that? Carried. Be it resolved that the taxation write-off summary report as submitted by Senior Tax Clerk Debbie Churchill be received as information. Have a mover for this one. Councilor Langus. Second? Deputy Mayor. Any questions on this one? All those in favor? Carried. Sure missed my glasses, Jeff. Be it resolved that the 2025 and 2026 taxation write-offs report as submitted by Senior Tax Clerk Debbie Churchill be received, and the treasurer, in accordance with the provisions of Section 357 and 358 of the Municipal Act, be authorized to write off property taxes for the year of 2025 and 26 as identified in Appendix A. Mover for this one, Deputy Mayor. Second. Counselor Myers. All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the January Fire Department report is submitted by Director of Emergency Services, Fire Chief Richard Boyce, be received as information. Mover, Counselor Langus, second. Counselor Brown, any questions on this one? All those in favor? That one and the next one?
Is that for the underwriter survey? No.
That's the next one. Be it resolved that the fire underwriter survey and Superior Tanker Shuttle Service and Insurance Impacts Report as submitted by Director of Emergency Services, Fire Chief Richard Boyce, be received as information. We have a mover on that. Counselor Langstaff. Second. Counselor Foster. All those in favor of that? Carried. Now, need to make a motion on how to proceed with the fire underwriter survey and Superior Tanker Shuttle Service. Go ahead, Counselor.
Through the mayor, I would like to ask if we could table this to next council meeting, as I have some outstanding phone calls for more information that I'm looking into for this request.
Okay, table, seconder. Nobody want to second it? Not paying attention, eh? Oh. All right, any questions on this? Go ahead, sir.
Through the chair.
Oh, sorry, next time around. All those in favor to table? Carried. Be it resolved that the 2025 Asset Management Plan, core and non-core report is submitted by Director of Public Works Brian Black, be received as information, and that the 25 Asset Management Plan be approved. We have a mover for this. Councilor Myers. Second. Deputy Mayor. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
I did.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Through the mayor, I just thank you very much, Brian, for this report. And I just really hope, moving forward, we follow what we're supposed to be doing. That's my comment.
Okay, anybody else? All those in favor? Carried. Brian, Dave here. I have a question about road salt. I've seen that a lot of municipalities around are running short of it, and I've not heard a word if we're running short or not. So how's our situation? Whichever one wants to answer.
Yeah, we are, could you come up to the mic?
Yes, we are most certainly in the same boat as many other municipalities. Our salt comes from Compass Minerals in Goderich, and which is the largest salt mine in the world, 2 hours away from us, and we're not able to get salt the way we should. There's plenty of media stories out there which explain why. But yeah, daily I'm on the phone begging for loads of salt, and it's been quite frustrating. And most municipalities are in the same boat.
Is this basically, and now I'll tell you a media story I've heard, as they're American-owned and it's getting sent over there? Is that?
That's my understanding, yes. They were loading boats for basically export to the States. and we're getting what's left over.
It's Canadian salt.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just was curious because I've heard the reports too. Do we call that one? Be it resolved that the proposal to hoist the Dig Safe flag raising event, say that 10 times, for 2026 report as it submitted by Director of Public Works Brian Black be received as information, and that the St. Clair Township hosts the ORCGA Dig Safe flag raising for Lambton County as part of Dig Safe Month on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. Be it further resolved that sharing the barbecue food costs with ORCGA estimated at $700 be approved, and St. Clair Township's share of the cost be funded by the Education and Environment Fund. Have a mover for this one. Councilor Myers, thank you. Second? Councilor Brown. Any questions? All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the Paddock Green Phase 19 Partial Assumption Report as submitted by Coordinator of Engineering Andrew Malpass be received, and that the assumption of all underground utilities of the stormwater management pond and the roadway for Phase 19A in Paddock Green Phase 19 be approved. Be it further resolved that the $795,690.50 maintenance letter of credit be released, and the $237,600 outstanding work letter of credit be reduced to a value of $79,772.50. We have a mover for this one. Councilor Foster. Seconder. Councilor Langus. Which part is this, Andrew, in Paddock Green?
The extension of Queen to the south.
Okay.
And then Winner's Circle, Triple Crown Lane is the one that goes, like, loops back up to the north. That's 19B,
Okay.
which hasn't had top coat asphalt yet.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
So the amount that they're reflecting that they're holding back is the developer is going to still be responsible to do that final asphalt coating?
Andrew?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Summer of 2026, okay.
Anybody else? All those, excuse me, in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the council support letter for CSA standard on flushability report as submitted by Coordinator of Operations Chris Westbrook be received as information, and that the signing of the letter of support for the CSA standard on flushability be approved. Do we have a mover for this? Deputy Mayor. Seconder. Councilor Myers. Any questions? Go ahead.
Through the mayor, just a comment. I agree with this, supporting it. Even in December, from what they said, the report, they already had 6 calls for sanitary blocks that were residents' fault, not township. So I think this is a great letter to send.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the December 2025 Water Wastewater Operations Report as submitted by Coordinator of Operations Chris Westbrook be received as information. Have a mover for this one. Councilor Brown, second. Councilor Langus. Any questions on this? All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the inflow and infiltration program update report as submitted by Coordinator of Operations Chris Westbrook be received as information. Have a mover for this. Deputy Mayor. Second. Councilor Myers. Any questions on this? Councilor Brown.
The one acronym there, ERTs, I was struggling what that was in that report. Inflow and infiltration program.
Brian, you have? Don't see Chris here, so.
The part of the report says we changed out 77 water meters and 186 ERTs.
Yeah, through the mayor, that's the meter reading equipment. So you've got your meter and your meter reading piece that get changed out.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thanks, Brian. All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the quotation results for a bush hog flex wing mower report as submitted by Coordinator of Operations David Neely be received, and that the lowest quotation submitted by Lambton Kent Farm Implements Limited in the amount of $38,363.52, including net HST for the supply of one new bush hog, 4115 flex wing rotary mower be approved. We have a mover for this, Councilor Langstaff. Seconder. Deputy Mayor. Any questions on this one? Go ahead.
What happens to the old one? Is that I'm just quickly reviewing that, is that a trade-in, or is that, do we still utilize the one we had that was, I think, a few years old here?
The old one will be sold as a surplus equipment.
So this is for all the roadsides, right?
Yes.
Is it gonna keep up one, or?
No, well, we have a total, like, we have a total of 3 units, 3 tractors paired with mowers. So this will basically replace one of those that's being problematic and spending too much time in the shop.
Okay.
So with the continued effort to make sure we get across rural grass cutting without breakdowns.
Yeah, perfect. Keep it going. Anybody else? All those in favor? Is that right, Councilor Langstaff?
Yes, sir. Feel triggered.
We talk. Be it resolved that the Community Services February Information Report as submitted by Director of Community Services Kendall Lindsay be received as information. Have a mover on this. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Seconder. Councilor Langus, any questions for Kendall? Go ahead, sir.
Through the mayor, I don't know when the proper time to bring this up is, but we have the golf course in front of us, so I guess I will now. I'm wondering if staff should gauge interest in hosting a fraud information meeting similar to what Petrolia is doing at the Victoria Theater there. I'm wondering if the golf course would be a good venue for hosting one of our own here, if they have good numbers in Petrolia, if staff should look into that potentially. I'm not.
Want to make a motion?
Sure.
Okay. You got that, Jeffrey? Do we have a seconder for that? Councilor Myers, any questions? Anything we can do to raise a little awareness? Councilor Brown, go ahead.
Just a comment, I think it was the Lambton Farm Association, they did have a constable when they held their annual meeting that was held at the golf course. They did have a constable come out to speak to the group that was at just last fall, I think, so. But that was all the Farm Association put that on.
Okay, we have a motion. All those in favor? Carried. Should I call this? Let's call the report. All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the Brigden Hall Fire Code Deficiencies Cost Report as submitted by Coordinator of Facilities Marcus Corshane be received as information. Have a mover on this? Councilor Langus, thank you. Second. Councilor Myers. So, this all fit into the $50,000 budget, eh? Okay. Because wasn't tomorrow night their meeting out in Bragdon?
Yeah, through the mayor, Marks has a meeting set up tomorrow night, but he's been going around meeting with all boards.
Okay.
Just catch up and introduce himself and yeah.
Perfect. If I don't make it out there, I'm sorry, but I will try. The county budget this week too, and I haven't had a big chance to look at it, but hopefully I will see you out there. Go ahead, sir.
Through your worship, I'm wondering if I can request that we get a financial statement back from the Bergen Community Hall. So we can, yeah, financial statement, please, and thank you.
You remember that, we'll ask for that tomorrow night. Okay, anybody else? Counselor?
So this amount that were quoted by the construction company, that's just them, that's not any of the other fire code issues that'll go on top of that. So I'm wondering if we'll have enough money to cover all that.
Marcus met out there with the fire department and everything, so he's got more knowledge on it.
You're good. That's good. Oh, one more. One more
It was
push.
on, that's off.
Watch the red light. There.
Through the mayor, the Westwick's quote does include Century Fire's component and the other. It ties in all, I think it was 22 or 23 items within that order. So it should close up that building and make us fully compliant.
Perfect. Thank you. All those in favor? Carried.
I'd like to ask for a recorded vote, please.
On this motion? Okay.
John, get your papers out.
Okay, on that
Used a lot of paper
motion,
today. Go ahead.
Councillor Langus.
Is the motion to approve this, or?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Councillor Myers.
Yes.
Councillor Langstaff.
E.
Councillor Brown.
No.
Councillor Foster.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Miller.
Yeah.
Mayor Agar.
Yes?
That motion's approved.
All right. Got more paper yet?
Yeah.
You might need two more. All right, bylaws. Be it resolved that the following bylaws receive all three readings and be thereby passed. Bylaw 5 of 2026, sewage and wastewater discharge bylaw. Bylaw 6 of 2026, interim tax bylaw. And bylaw 7 of 2026, confirming bylaw. Do we have a mover? Sorry. Councillor Myers, second. Councillor Foster. All those in favor? Carried. All right, councilors' reports. Councillor Langus. I think I was that way last time, so.
On January 15th, of course, we were here for the budget. On the 21st, I was at the Heritage meeting, and they are asking about an idea of what you would like to see on the sign for the John DeMars Bridge, to give them an idea of whether you want just his name on there, his name and his picture, what kind of material you want used, et cetera. So I have a meeting at the third week in February, and if you have any ideas,
Yes,
I would-
something nice.
something nice
Something
doesn't
nice.
answer it.
No, it does. Something nice, don't cheap. His picture would be perfect on there.
Picture, yeah.
This is off my request.
Okay, and
Anybody
to
else has
say
anything?
the John
Yes.
DeMars Bridge?
Yes.
Okay. It just helps them when they go to plan something, exactly what you want on it. And I said I would ask for
Like
sure.
I say, the key word is nice.
Nice.
A John DeMars fitting.
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
And then on the 27th, the Court of Adjustment, I was there too.
Okay. Did you have a question for that?
I was just gonna ask for someone to direct, Counselor Langus with the company that did the one for the young Campbell boy and, Clomstra.
Yeah, the Clomster one out on the bridge. Go have a look at that one. It was a
Clomstra on
nice-
White Line.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, that was a nice one. Yep.
Counselor Myers.
Just a follow-up to that. Of course, the name and the picture, is there going to be any write-up of his significance?
Almost that would be a good idea to put on there.
Only
too.
because, hey, we all
Yeah.
know who John DeMars is, but
Yeah.
I don't want people down the road to forget who John DeMars is or was and the significance of why it's there.
Yep, good idea. That's, yeah, add that to it too. Yeah, like 25 years from now, somebody's walking on and saying, who the heck is that guy? Yeah, we all know.
I was pretty quiet, but we go through to the 21st. I was at the Wilkesport Hall Board meeting and then the fundraising committee meeting after that. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Counselor Langstaff.
Thank you, Your Worship. I also attended Wilkesport Community Hall meeting, a ditch meeting here on the 17th, and we had a very long and productive few days in Toronto at the Roma Conference, meeting with many ministers, parliamentary assistants, et cetera, in delegations and out, talking about issues that hit close to home here. So all of our issues were heard long and wide, and it was a long weekend and productive.
Doug Ford had a very interesting speech, did he not?
Go ahead, Counselor Brown.
Really, it's been a couple of weeks quiet. I snuck a vacation in and was here on the 15th for the budget meeting, and coincidentally, one of the passengers on the cruise ship I was on was told me she lives in Tilsonburg now, but she was the very first Brigden Fair, Fall Fair Queen back in 1972. So
Wow.
I met some history. That's it.
Counselor Foster.
Yes, on January 15th, I was at the budget meeting as well. And January 18th to 20th, I was in Roma as well, met with the ministers, and brought back some information that I provided to the clerk to follow up on. Councillor Langstaff and I attended a working lunch, and they were one of the speakers, or that was another one. We were at another conference during it, and it was on naming rights and sponsorship. And it was brought forward from Deb Brown, who runs the clock for the Flags game. And I was sitting with her while I was working the Silver Stick. And it was mentioned, why don't we have any of the arena, for example. So we attended, we learned a lot of things with the help of Dave Ferguson from Alvinston, speaking with him, how he got some funding. And we're going to be following up, and we had some promising leads while we were there. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. I also have had it pretty quiet. I didn't have any vacation, and I didn't go to the conference, but I did attend the budget meeting, a county council meeting on the 21st where I got another budget binder. And 27th, I had Committee of Adjustment. That's it.
Thank you. I would like to start off with congratulations to great-grandpa and grandma, Steve and Janice Miller, on a girl. Congrats. It's always nice to be the great-grandpa. I only have grandpa in front of mine. There's no great.
Not all good.
Especially when she gets older.
The same thing, Roma and budgets and the county meeting. I did talk to somebody who had a pretty good thought. I forget which golf course it is. John, maybe you can help me, because you were there when I did do some talking about this. Now they've taken up letting people track through the golf course, like the trail. And when they're done, do they hit the clubhouse? It was a good idea to put a sign up there at the end that we have a nice clubhouse to go into. So just a thought. Yeah, Witter Station. That's it. Thanks, John. That's about it for tonight. Thank you. So we've got to the end. Be it resolved that the meeting do hereby adjourn. Wait, I got to get the upcoming meetings first. What's that?
Please note Tuesday.
So regular meeting, session 3, Tuesday, February 17th at 6 PM due to Family Day. Regular meeting, session 4, Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026 at 3 PM. And regular meeting, session 5 on a regular day, March 16th, 2026. So be it resolved that this meeting do hereby adjourn. Deputy Mayor, second. Councilor Brown.